Okay, sweet. I'm super excited to go through this with you
Mm-hmm.
and to share all the exciting things that we're doing at MyTreks.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to be talking about the high school success plan. So it's a personalized roadmap that we build for our students on mytreks.ai. And our guest today, or presenter today, is Dr. Ruby Garcha. And Ruby is our dedicated counselor on the platform who works directly with students to create their personalized plan. And she helps them throughout the journey every year, and then actively working with them in senior year to work on applications, essays, and everything that requires for college acceptance. So we're going to talk about exactly how MyTreks works throughout this webinar.
Well, thank you, Yusra. I will go ahead, start with my story,
Yeah.
how I got into working with students in higher education. So I was a first generation student, immigrated with my family in the United States back in 2004. And obviously, first generation, right? In the family, nobody knew anything about the education system in the United States. We're not well educated. So, and then it comes down to being a first generation student, you have to navigate the whole education system yourself. So I went to high school and I was just basically, told by my counselor, these are the classes you need to take, in order to graduate from high school. Okay. That was like a big deal for me at that time. Like, okay, you told me, oh, these are the classes I need to take in order to be successful in high school. So I just, went through high school, completed my high school. Then I took the pathway to go to community college because I was told that, it would be a better pathway because I was learning English as a second language that I might not be able to get really high scores on the test, SAT, on ACT testing. So I went to community college, same thing. I was given a plan in my hand. Okay, these are the classes you need to take if you want to go into a career. And I always wanted to be a teacher, and that's what I told my counselor. I didn't have to take any assessments or anything based on what I had shared with my counselor. I got a plan that I was going to follow to transfer to a four-year university. I went into university, got my bachelor's in psychology. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that, there was always, I received a counseling services from the college or from the high school, and I was always told about the classes, the course requirement. Nobody has ever, mentioning to me like, okay, that there is something called extracurricular activity, there is something called that I need to start participating in, outside of classroom, like clubs or volunteering services, engaging in the community. But I kind of followed the pathway. I have I can say there were a lot of struggles, like a lot of struggles I have to go through to navigate financial piece of it, not knowing how the loan system works in the United States when it comes to the course requirements. Okay, these are the specific classes I need to take, but wasn't aware that there are other testing options that I could do, and rather, if I'm really good at a subject, I can just test out of it to cut down on the years of that I needed to attend a college or my four-year degree program. So I done my bachelor's in psychology, went into a counseling program. When I went did my bachelor's, that's when I figured it out. I wanted to be a counselor, and teaching was not for me. Then I had received a plan because when I was a child, I knew I loved helping people. I loved, I used to pretend like a tutor, for my other classmates. Okay, let me help you do my homework. So I knew I was going to go into teaching. And then I'm just not focusing on my education piece, but apart from it, 2008 was the time when I started working into education. It was more into, adults who were learning English as a second language. They were immigrating from, a different country coming to United States. That's how I got I started my career into education, then started working in high schools. So
Okay.
throughout my years of experience, I have worked with a lot of different students, thousands of students, when it comes to guiding them with their high school four-year planning, and then comes into doing workshops for applications and just guiding them through the different pathways, which works best for them. My focus for 17 years of, if I wrap it up in a couple sentences, like 17 years of experience I have had has always been on student services, focusing on, what services we already have and how, those services are supporting student and what we can do to make it better. Have also, worked on some program development or transition, just to looking at the outcomes and recommendations that, student, teachers, and staff have always made to see how we can make things better. And yes, that's kind of what lead into me working in education. But what I wanted to share was, when I look back now, 17 years, I look back and I see that, okay, there are so many, offerings are out there with, private programs or different counseling programs that offer for high school students. I wish I had that support at that time, because I was a completely lost child, didn't know what to do here. I wish I had that, and I wish my parents were making enough money to afford those services, because those services are very expensive nowadays. If you want to have like a private counselor. So that's kind of I always look into, but I knew I couldn't have it, but I can now work to support those students who can't afford it, and just work with them, giving back to the community. Basically, I went through this, I have gone through those struggles and challenges as a student, but now it's my time to give back to the community and offer those services that I can, with the affordable program that we can offer to them.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your background. I think that gives a great perspective of why you're doing and why you're so passionate about what you're doing here at MyTreks. College today is a $100,000 decision. It was a $100,000 decision back when I was trying to apply for college. I walked away with actually $100,000 in debt, a good chunk of it at 12.4% interest rate. And I also studied psychology just like you. And I didn't have a plan after I graduated. So, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I didn't have the support in high school to understand what I should be doing. And honestly, I was one of those students that really tried to be excited about the future. Coming from an immigrant family, like I wanted to break the chain. I wanted to have a financially a good future for myself, but the thing is that I didn't have access to any of the resources, and the counselors just never have enough time for the students. So right now we are at 430 students to one counselor in high school right now for Texas. So considering that that's the number of students that we have and there's one counselor, how much support is a single student going to get anyway? And then also thinking about the fact that counselors are so busy in senior year, because they're helping the seniors apply for college. That means you're not going to get any time with your high school counselor in freshman, sophomore, or junior year, right? Because they just have so much. So this is really where MyTreks comes into play. Is it's the perfect program that's designed to help you start that conversation early, to help the student understand, what track they should follow. And honestly, a lot of the times when students don't have a plan, they don't really know what they should do for their career. And it has to do with the fact that they want to do something that is going to be meaningful, something they'll enjoy, especially these days. Because what I've noticed, I have a sister that's 13 years younger than me. When it was her turn to start looking into colleges to think about her career, she had a completely different mindset. My mindset was like, what do I do to make money? Her mindset was like, I really want to do something that I'm going to enjoy, like doing every single day, that brings my passion, that brings like my creativity, my strengths into action. Like, what is perfect for me? And it's a whole different mindset. But I'm sure, Ruby, I think you have probably seen this as well in students, right? That the shift is changing. Students are now more aware.
Well, I do have to say, I do want to validate when you were saying, like, counselor has like 400 students. From my experience when I was in a high school counselor, yes, it was the same. And it's like,
Mm,
our priority is basically to make sure a student completes the, foundational requirements to graduate from a high school, right? They do not end up dropping out from high school, just focusing on getting them requirements completed and transitioning them to college. Doesn't matter. So, what career they choose, because we counselors never had time to just really sit down with a student and talk about their interests, right, what they really want to
mhm,
do. So I guess that's where the other organization or companies or startup companies comes in to offer those services. And but like I have said earlier, the it's not for everybody. The programs are quite expensive. All the parents can't afford it, but the
mhm.
ones who do, they are definitely able to get a personalized plan that will set them up for success and a smoother transition from high school to college.
Well, we have a solution for that. So that's what
Okay.
MyTreks is, right?
Mhm.
It's actually a plan that's a lot more affordable compared to private counseling, but it provides the same white glove service that a counselor provides,
Mhm.
and it's more efficient because we use technology to help, you know, with the process. So
Mhm.
let's dive into some of the key topics that we're going to talk about today, so that our audience understand how we're going to divide out the time. So we're going to talk about how MyTreks personalizes the journey for the student. And then we're going to talk about the importance of having a 4-year plan, what outcomes from the personalized 4-year plan, and then what does MyTreks has to offer at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead. So um, like we were saying, students today are not just looking at which paycheck they're going to get at the end of the day. They are
Mhm.
really interested in finding careers that are going to match their interests,
Mhm.
something that they feel like truly connected to, their
Mhm.
passion, their strengths. A lot of the students in today's society, and which is a really good thing, is that they have strong values and belief systems.
Mhm.
Like they're really interested in protecting the planet, saving the
Mhm.
planet, thinking about
Mhm.
the future. They're politically involved. They care about what's happening, not just in this country, but around the globe.
Mhm.
And so it's a really interesting, and I'm a big fan of the new generation because they think in a very different way, and it brings a lot of
Mhm.
hope. And so MyTreks is designed on the principles of taking into consideration how these students think. And one of the simplest way of how we do this is we start by understanding the student. So, we really are trying to understand them by, what do they like to do? What are they really good at? So what are their strengths? So we start with understanding, what their strengths are and help them understand how those strengths can tie to specific careers. So, for example, there are very unique strengths that come into being a physician versus an engineer. It's completely different type of work
Mhm.
area, completely different type of mindset, right?
Mhm.
Researchers are, even though if somebody is really interested in going into studying sciences and biology, they could go on the track of research, or they
Mhm.
can go and become a physician. So that's also different. So
Mhm.
what we do at MyTreks is we start by understanding what the students' interests are,
Mhm.
what they're passionate about, what are their beliefs, and then what are their unique strengths. And we take a look at that, and that's where the process starts. And we start guiding them and figuring out what are the best career fits for them, taking into consideration all of these things. So that will also highlight, like, not just which career, but what industry might be the right fit for them. And when you have that, that helps us really personalize and build a 4-year roadmap that evolves with them. So today, if a student comes to us and they say, like, you know what, I'm really interested, for example, whatever student is uh, he knows for sure that he wants to help people
Mhm.
get affordable medical care.
Mhm.
And it's very clear. And his number one strength is actually belief. So
Mhm.
what he believes in is very important. So his mission is already very clear to us. So we're going to be building a personalized journey for him to basically have a plan for each year, or for each summer, what he will be doing to get him closer to where he
Mhm.
wants to be when it comes to time for applying for colleges and have that, that
Mhm.
that clarity on where he will be eventually. So
Mhm.
yeah, so this is based on basically the principles of Ikigai,
Mhm.
if we want to simplify it. And we do this through a series of assessments, conversations with the coach. All of that information helps us
Mhm.
really understand the student and provide a personalized initial roadmap for them.
Mhm. Well, I do want to share some example here that I have seen a change in the trend. If I look back 5 years ago, the parents and their, children would walk into the office and saying, I already know what career I want to go to. Obviously for money, right? That's the career is making money, like engineering or medical, going into
Mhm.
nursing field. So we know what we want for our child, and the child would thinking would be same. Okay, yes, my parents want me to go into engineering, chemical engineering. I'm going to go into it. So you tell me what my plan is, what do I need to do? But if I look now after 5 year of transition, these conversations have changed. So it's like I communicate with the parents and I communicate with their children. The conversation has changed. The conversation is mostly about, okay, so we want to know, like, I have these strengths that I have. How can I transition them into a career? So it's not like coming with a mindset we already have a career in mind, but
Mhm.
now it's just helped me understand myself, how what are some of the paths that I can go to, because it's not about money, it's about passion. So
Mhm.
basically the passion needs to drive a profession. To obviously you have to make money, but you're going to be doing this for your life, so you have to go into something that you are going to be enjoying and being able to make money, but still at the same time you're going to work every day, you're going to be happy about it, right? You're going to be working with people. You don't want to be stressful every day. Oh, I have to go to job 9 to 5, I don't want to do this. So that's there's a huge transition, obviously, like you have said. The generation, they really want to learn about themselves.
Yeah, and I think also if you do something that you enjoy, you do
Uh-huh.
a better job at it,
Oh, for sure,
right?
right.
Like if a student is in if they enjoy, and this is very clear, right? If they
uh,
enjoy a specific topic,
mm-hmm.
for example, psychology for me and for you, I guess as well, Ruby,
Uh-huh.
we get A's in that class because
For sure.
that's what we like. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
important. And a lot of the times what happens is a student is like, oh, I want to do this career because my parents do this or my friends are choosing this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the right way. It's
Mm-hmm.
college itself is $100,000 decision, okay? But it's also
Mm-hmm.
the most important time of your life and the most
Mm-hmm.
strategic time of your life. So
Mm-hmm.
this pre-work, the first 4 years are
Mm-hmm.
so important because you really should be working, like parents
Mm-hmm.
and students should be working together to kind of have those conversations, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
understand that in
Mm-hmm.
today's busy world, not everybody has the time to go through that. And
Mm-hmm.
students are, I think, even more busy than parents these days in
Mm-hmm.
high school. But
Mm-hmm.
it's so important that all of this, college prep, career prep gets pushed to the side. But
Mm-hmm.
that's really what the students is working towards. It's not working,
Mm-hmm.
they're not in school just because they need to play sports or play band
Mm-hmm.
and learn
Mm-hmm.
geometry. They're there
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to lead them to having a career, and we
Yes.
don't often have that conversation until it's too late. And
Mm-hmm.
having the conversation also means that you're making a very rushed decision about the
Mm-hmm.
rest of your life. Like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
big decision. You're making a decision about your career, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, there are a lot of missteps when you don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go into the next slide here. So yeah, perfect. So what happens without a plan versus with a plan? So Ruby, I want you to walk through this since you've worked directly with
Mm-hmm.
students. What are some of the things that you have seen that, when students
Mm-hmm.
have a plan versus not have a plan?
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely, for sure. So students, like, from my experience, what I have seen and what I usually see when I come across the research, like students who do not have a plan, they go into, they're taking classes in high school without a for a plan. Just met with my counselor, just have a paper that's telling me, oh, these are the classes I need to take in order to graduate. 30% of the students every year end up dropping either from high school or they transition to college because they don't have a plan. They end up dropping from college or just take some random classes. And then obviously that leads them to not being success into the career or the pathway that they have chosen, or maybe they chose something it's like they're not passionate about. So I'm taking bio classes, right? A student's taking a biology classes. I never thought about I wanted to take biology classes. So it's like it's very tough, it's a very challenging class. Obviously then it's the mindset of the student. It's like, I can't do it, this maybe I'm not a good enough, right? Then it leads into them just dropping out or not continuing their education. And then again, like I said, students often feel they're lost. They have no support. The support system that they only have is their counselor, but they're not getting enough from it. And then they ended up taking some random classes. And when they're in high school, they just take some random electives that they don't even know that are going to transition or they don't even know that those skills are going to be transferable into or translate into the career that they want to go to. Or student take classes, oh, my friend's going to take this class in psychology, I'm going to take it because we're going to do this class together. So these kind of things then started to happen if a student does not have a plan with selected electives that they can take at the high school, which will then transition into their college credits, or get them to learn about the foundation skills that can transition into the career that they might want to go into. And then again, obviously, again, then just going back into, then it creates a stressful environment for them. And as they are progressing in their high school, like 9th grade, 10th grade, just taking those random classes, once they get to their junior and senior year, again, they feel like lost. They don't know much information about the application. Because I feel like nowadays, when it comes to a high school student, education is becoming so competitive and there's a lot to learn. Like these students need to know a lot. And it can't just happen like, I'm going to school in the morning, I have a counselor there, I'll just go in. There needs to be a lot of learning. There needs to be a lot of different programs or workshops, or I feel like those need to be taught to students in steps, right? It can't just happen over 4 years. You go to school, you learn everything, and you come out of it. So students end up just feeling like stressed out. They start questioning themselves. Their self-esteem goes down, their motivation level, their confidence levels definitely drops down. And then when it comes to the parents mostly parents that I have worked with, parents do not know much about when it comes to the students, what they have to complete in high school. Even if it's a parent that's here in US, they study every year. Again, the education is changing, the system is changing.
Yeah.
The core requirement stays the same, but there is a lot. Even like when I went to high school, I look at it now, oh my God. Even as a counselor, I feel like, oh my God, it's a lot for me to learn to make sure that I know everything so I can tell my students. So it keeps changing. And then the parents start worrying about, making sure their child, get the services that they need, or they're on the right track. And then if the children are not doing well, then it's the pressure starts, parents start putting pressure on them.
Yeah.
And then again, it leads into a like a stressful environment, or
Yeah.
it's
I
like it
think
causes anxiety. And I have seen a lot of high school student anxiety. A lot of students have like a testing anxiety when it comes to like they everything, but when you are going to go and take a test, because you have a lot of pressure on you, you're in a senior year or you're in junior year, then they end up not doing well in the testings. And I have
Yeah,
like
and
the go ahead.
what I was gonna say, Ruby, is another thing to know is, let's say if you have a gut feeling about, this is a specific career path I want to go into, then
Mm-hmm,
that helps you figure out what electives that you should be taking, what courses you should be taking. So
mm-hmm,
that's where we work with the student to help them figure out
mm-hmm,
that, especially personalized to them, because we
mm-hmm,
know when the student, what grades they're getting in the specific classes,
mm-hmm,
what class recommendation we would have for them, so that
mm-hmm,
it's a very strategic, almost like a
mm-hmm,
surgically strategic approach in terms of what classes they should take in order to
mm-hmm,
make sure their GPA stays high, also
mm-hmm,
to make sure that it's a very diverse
mm-hmm,
portfolio that highlights experiences, and then what summer courses, what's their summer strategy each year,
mm-hmm,
that they should have, because even though summer is like time off,
mm-hmm,
sorry to say, it's also the most strategic window to get the most important experience. So that's where you
yeah,
build your resume. And that's
mm-hmm,
all part of the 4-year plan that we put together for the student.
mm-hmm,
So it's not just
mm-hmm,
about what classes to take. It's more about like what
mm-hmm,
classes to strategically take at the right time, so that
mm-hmm,
your GPA is in the most tip-top condition, because obviously all colleges are looking at that.
mm-hmm,
When you in your first PSAT versus SAT, that's also
mm-hmm,
important, that timing. What you should be doing your first summer, your second summer, your third summer, all of that is part of the plan. And
mm-hmm,
unfortunately, right now, there's not a tool, there's not a person, unless you work with a very specific, very good private
mm-hmm,
counselor that understands the strategy
yeah,
behind this. So we were able
mm-hmm,
to put this together because obviously we've talked to students that have successfully gotten into great schools, and after listening
mm-hmm,
to so many stories of how they do it, we figured
mm-hmm,
out exactly what those points are and when
mm-hmm,
they should be, to make sense and keep it
mm-hmm,
easy, because we don't parents are not going to be able to figure this out. This is way too
mm-hmm,
long.
mm-hmm,
It takes a lot of work, and then getting the
mm-hmm,
students to kind of follow through is another piece of it, but it's so important. So
mm-hmm,
important steps can be missed if we don't have a plan in place.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I see like, just to create like a more visual, I always, share with my student. So high school is like a big puzzle, right? You're going from elementary to high school. It's a big puzzle. If you don't know what you want out of it, like, what career you want to go into, or maybe it doesn't have to be exact career or something relatable, right? Once you're going to college, you can always change, but at least you are on the right track. So if you know that, let's say there is four puzzle each year, right? Ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th, 12th grade. Out of all these years, you have a one puzzle you need to solve. There is your milestone. You just need to work through each year and get the support that you need, what classes you need to take, what classes you can test out of it. It's going to make you more successful, and you're going to be able to complete all your high school, graduation requirement. At the same time, you're going to be able to take some electives that will translate into your college credits, and you may have gained already some foundational skills from those classes that as you are going into college. And basically, the language that we've been using, it's roadmap, right? If you have
Mhm.
that roadmap, it's going to guide you, and then your parents are not going to be worried enough. They know you're on the right track. There's going to be somebody who's going to remind you that you still have those tasks to complete. That's what's coming up next year. So it's a stress off from them, so they know they're seeing their child, they're progressing in their high school, and it just makes them, I guess, less worried, so they can really focus on their relationship that they have with their child. Because I have seen parents, they're working with their children. It's like, sometimes there could be a pressure in between, or there could be challenges in communication, because both sides don't know what to do, what's going to be the plan. But if you have a plan, then you can both, support your child at the same time, and work together to progress into the plan that has been put together for you.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the note of the plan and the personalized journey that we were talking about, so
Mm-hmm.
this is actually available on our website for people to kind of get these details again if they're interested. This is how we work. So if we have a student that joins us in ninth grade, MyTreks is available for students 13 and older. So technically you can join us in 8th grade. So what it is that year one, or how we start, which we talked about earlier, is we first start by getting to understand the student, passions, interests, most importantly, their strengths, and how their strengths can align to a specific career, coaching them, that one-on-one coaching, so that they have that that meaningful conversation about their career, which a lot of times, a lot of students don't have the opportunity of doing that. So we do this work so the student can understand themselves, self-reflect, understand their strengths, and see how they tie to a specific career. Then based on that, the next step is for us to build a 4-year MyTreks roadmap for them. So each student has their very unique roadmap. It is their personal journey, which is designed to get them to their goal, to their dream career, to their dream college. We also work on the relevant skills that need to be developed throughout this process. So we talked about study skills, time management, stress management. We cover everything. We cover how to start building your resume, what clubs, volunteers, organizations they should be a part of. We talk about
summer programs.
Yeah, the GPA strategy, our programs, what classes, like if they're thinking about, because some students might be interested in going to a community college, some might be like, no, we actually want to go directly into a doctorate program, so everybody has a different plan for themselves. So we go through that, the summer strategy. So for the first year, kickstart your summer journey. So we talk about what they should be doing and have a plan ready for that summer. For sure. So, and then the second year would be just really emphasizing their leadership skills, really working on their resumes, a balanced plan. So we'll take a look at whatever happened the first year, what their transcripts, what it all looks like, and then based on that, we recommend the follow-up strategy to do that. One of the key things that we try to do that MyTreks will offer is the career exploration, which allows, because we don't want to just be like, because a lot of times what I hear from students these days, Ruby, is that, oh, I'm really interested in understanding how people think. So I think I want to become a psychiatrist. There is, that works. That's true. But there are so many steps and so many things to understand and achieve in that process. So we want to really make sure that if a student is interested in going into the field of psychiatry, they first of all, we need to understand and help them understand what that means. And that's where those conversations happen. That's where our mentor library comes into play. We give our students access to mentors so they can learn about the different careers. We'll have them research on the different careers, but then also have conversations with a psychiatrist so they can learn even and we guide them about these conversations, because a student might not know exactly what questions to ask. So we prepare them to have that conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know the mentor piece is really important, because, thinking about going into education or, going into engineering and just, doing your own research or hearing from it's always the best piece of advice that you can get from someone who's already in the field. And this is great that we have a, library of mentors that, we share with our students so they can get the best piece of advice and kind of really understand what that look like. Because like you said, some students will come in and say, oh, well, I like helping people. Or, I have seen students saying, oh, I want to go into social work. So when they say social work, it's like, okay, I'm going to be helping people. No, social work is not about helping people. It's more about paperwork, the document, that piece that you have worked with. So there's always, they have a mindset, but there's always lack of understanding of a career, which definitely, we have the services that we can offer them for the mentoring and the coaching session and the counseling session we offer, and the work, and also the workshops, we offer for students to really understand themselves and build their confidence.
Yeah, and I think what's important is what's really unique about this process is that a lot of times a student is really interested in, let's say, in social work, right? Once they have a conversation with a social worker, they might be like, I'm not doing that. And
Yeah.
that's great because we want them to get rid of anything that
Mhm.
they shouldn't be wasting their time on.
Mhm.
Because and that happens all the time. I was talking to a student, Ruby, and she was actually interested in social work until she found out how much a social worker makes.
Mhm. Yeah, for
And
sure.
then she was like, I don't want to do that.
Uh-huh.
And that's so important because it is our job to make sure that the students understand the full picture. And that's where my
Yes.
it's not just about, if your strengths are with this career, then you should do this. Yeah, that's important. But then we also talk about like, how will you make money, right? That's
Mhm.
important. What is the amount of college debt you'll have? Finance is a big conversation that
Mhm.
we cover here to make sure that the student has a strategy, not just about like what major and what
Mhm.
college, like the full plan, right? How
Mhm. Mhm.
all of that. So it's so important.
Mhm.
Going
Mhm.
going and just to follow up with that. So if a student is, you know, this is not to show that you have to join us for the 4 years. You can
Mhm.
join us at any time. You can even join us at
Mhm.
senior year. We will do the same exact process. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more scrunched up because
Mhm.
we're senior year, but we will go to the same level of touch points there are for
Mhm.
the student, even in the senior year, because we want to follow and make sure that we cover all those important details. We get to know the student, we understand their path, and really help them through that. So
Mhm.
it's a 4-year plan, but you can
Mhm.
join us in junior year, you can join us in senior year, you can join us at any
Mhm.
time, and we work with the student. We have a different plan and a
Mhm.
different roadmap designed for every year when a student joins us.
Mhm.
So
That's
that
one thing I really like about our program because, it's not like, oh, you didn't join in this freshman year. Now
Mhm.
you're now going to get all these skills that you should have known, all these milestones that you need to understand or, you need to achieve in school. So it's really flexible that can be personalized based on where you are in your high school, the junior or senior or freshman. So that's really great though, because it gives an opportunity for every student, right? Regardless of what grade level they're into.
Yep. And then one thing I also forgot to hit at the bottom, as you can see, it says coaching focus. So our students get to work with the career counselor, which is Dr. Ruby Garcha here,
Mhm.
and they get to work with a coach, which is Dr. Ramsha Khan.
Mhm.
So the coach provides a whole different foundational work that the student and the coach has one-on-one. So these are coaching sessions and workshops that are designed to work with them throughout this journey. So that's instilling confidence, giving them clarity, helping them understand how strengths can tie to specific career, how their strengths tie to specific leadership roles, how they can, how understanding their strengths can help them make specific decisions. And the most important, I think, part and the most exciting part is that once the students understand their strengths, they really learn how their brain works.
Mhm.
And what's really unique about that is when they're actually telling their story at the end
Mhm.
of senior year in their college essay, they talk about their strengths, and we help them put
Mhm.
all of that together. So it's like essentially you're building one big story. You're creating your own story which highlights your interests, your passions, your strengths, and how all of that came together. So our coaching is really focused on self-reflection, your decision making, and your long-term strategy for what you're going to do in your career and I guess in your life, right? That's what
Mhm.
coaching is.
Mhm.
So this is taking the same exact leadership coaching that executives pay thousands and thousands of dollars for, and we
Yeah.
designed it for high school students. So it is, I think, one of my favorite parts of the offering, because you really get students that really they know themselves and they have clarity, and nothing beats that, so that's really
Mhm.
important.
Mhm.
um so yeah, so going through this, I think we talked through year 1, year 2.
Yep.
Year 3 is one of the most, I think, critical, most important year, because this is where your GPA should be like, you know
Yes, at a
like
certain point, right.
you have come all this way. Your resume should
Mhm.
reflect that, because honestly, the summer between
Mhm.
junior to senior year, you should be really looking at colleges, you should be touring them, you should be, finalizing the list of colleges that you're going to be applying at, you should be looking at your scholarships, all of that. So that's really what we start working on, basically your third year. And then senior year is go time, which combines all of this together and focuses on the application strategy, essay strategy, and all of that. So yeah, so this is the personalized journey, but then again, this is just the high level of it. Every student has their own personalized journey. It really depends on your strengths, your interests, what you do. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I do want to say, because we see every student as a unique experience. So creating a personalized journey definitely makes a huge difference because, some students have great potential, some might not come with great potential. But if we create a personalized roadmap for them that we want to make sure that student is meeting the milestone, regardless just of what they have come in with, we want to offer the support that they need, not just have like a checklist that they need to complete. We really lead from, this is what I have to say, we lead from our heart.
Yeah. And what's interesting is our traditional school systems are like they're designed to really look at test taking and GPAs and the sitting in the classroom. Colleges are, for a very good reason, are very starting to walk away from a lot of the traditional ways. So just to be clear here, if a student maybe doesn't have the most perfect GPA or the perfect SAT score, that doesn't mean their chances of getting into a specific college are less or more, right? Of course, it is important to have like your best score out there, but I have seen so many amazing success stories of people that don't have the perfect GPA and don't have the perfect SAT score, but what gets to a good college, what gets them into their dream college, into their dream career, is their story. And that's what we do at MyTreks, is we work with the student on their strengths, really helping them build confidence, have clarity, build their story, get them the right experiences. We already have had students at MyTreks that have spoken at stages and are working on really unique research projects to really help boost their resume. Very unique opportunities that you don't really come across, but our team is working to find those opportunities for the students so that they are learning outside of the classroom and building the skills that the colleges are looking for. Because let's be honest, colleges are looking for more than just a perfect GPA and a perfect SAT score at this point.
That's not, I guess, yeah, you're right. That's not the case anymore. GPA is just a one requirement and when it comes to the college application process, but there is a lot more when it comes to like extracurriculum or what's your story? What have you done while you were in high school? So really putting yourself up there is going to get you into the door where you want to when it comes to, going to a college that you have always thought about or dreamed about.
Yep. So I guess we are coming to the end of our webinar. So the call to action here is that we would love, if you guys are watching, if you are interested, we're available to talk to you. We can provide you more details about the program. You can start your personalized journey today. MyTreks is available for free to download the app, start your journey with us. And then, I guess you can connect with the guidance counselor. You can connect and learn more about our plan. And we talked a little bit about pricing earlier. It is a free app. We have a lot of free activities and webinars for students available and for parents to attend. But we also do have a premium offering if you are interested in starting the journey, which means you get one-on-one coaching sessions, you get special workshops, access to counseling, and our pricing model right now, this is our introductory pricing. So if you join us at 9th grade, you pay $15 a month for 48 months. If you join in 10th grade, it's $20 a month. In 11th grade, it's $30, and then in 12th grade, it's $60 a month. It is a consistent total investment investment in your future or in your child's future at less than $1,000, right? Less than the cost of an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
The total for 4 years, basically. And this covers everything from having coaching sessions to build confidence in the student, to understanding their strengths, to having clarity about what paths are the best paths for them, to having summer strategies ready, to have internships, opportunities, work with the students to figure out what internships are right for them and apply for them, and knowing exactly when to take your specific SATs, ACTs,
Mm-hmm.
that strategy, all the way up to like applying to colleges, writing essays, all of that for just this price here.
Well, no, this is a great deal. Well, I have to say, I have very young kids right now, so I'm looking forward to once they're going to start going to school, and having this such amount of offerings that I can put them into, so I don't have to worry about them. But yeah, no, this is great, and I have to say, MyTreks is great, doing a great job, with the program, and being part of it. I always feel thankful that I get to make a difference in these students, story, because that's what it comes down to, right? When a student comes back and tell you and their success story, that's what you work for. And that's what I always feel. Working in education, that makes your day and that makes your life, and then it keeps telling me that I keep doing what I'm doing because it's working.
Yeah, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, please download the app, start your journey here for free, and then yeah, we look forward to we look forward to helping more students
Mm-hmm.
find the best career for them and helping them with a personalized roadmap that can help them achieve their dream career.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much. Thank you, Ruby. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your time. This was great. Enjoyed it.
Well, thank you, Yusra.